Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are following this video. And I know very well that many of you are experiencing issues with the load shedding, and so I'm gonna make this video as informative as possible. And remember again to be free to email me concerning any questions that you might have. But um, to begin, one more time, I hope all of you will be able to submit assignment two. Assignment two has 4 questions, and by the look of it, it seems to be the easiest of all assignment that I've ever seen, and it's quite easy. I just want to highlight it's true when I say easy. I don't mean that you should not do your diligence on reading properly and properly understanding what is required of you. And so there is a need to pay attention to the details that I am aware of, and I would like to highlight specific areas where you could potentially lose marks if you are not paying careful attention. And so that's what it's all about, everyone, is that the assignment, the look of it, the read of it is easy, but you need to be paying attention to the details. And so again, we do have calculations, which is really the best part for us. But not only that, we do also have theoretical questions where you would need to not only write academically, but also properly reference your work. And it's quite important. And there is a reason why I need, again, at the beginning, at the very beginning of this tutorial, emphasize the fact that you need to properly reference. One of the most pervasive type of incorrect referencing that I've noted in your previous um, work, which was assignment one, was the fact that people were doing paragraph referencing. And so I'm sure that I left enough comments on your paper for you to know exactly what I'm talking about, if that was the case for you. And so again, allow me again to emphasize that you need to be careful, especially let's say this is a paragraph. Let's, for example's sake, let's take this as a paragraph. I hope I can grab my pencil, and if you would give me just a second, let me see if my pencil is working. Perfect. It seems like it is working. And let's say this was a paragraph. Let's say you were writing this and this is a paragraph. What I've noticed is that what I've noticed and noted in the case of, it seems like I'm not seeing my mouse really, but yeah, there we go. So people would write a paragraph, and after this final dot, sorry about that, after this final dot, what I would see is that people will reference here. Let's say 2022. So I see this kind of referencing, which is not correct, and it is quite important that you may not fall into this trap. I subtracted 5 marks, but for this assignment, I will subtract up to 10 marks if you find yourself again doing something like this. You see, the problem with this kind of referencing is, first of all, it's not in the referencing guide. And I know why some of you are doing this is so that you may not be caught into plagiarism, but this is not appropriate. This is not correct. And the reason is the fact that I don't know what particular sentence within this paragraph, because a paragraph is made up of multiple sentences. So I do not know what exactly is referring to this particular reference. So I'm not sure. There is nothing, no indication that can be given to me of exactly what sentence, what idea within the paragraph is is referred to or referenced here. So please take note of that. So without further ado, again, I'm going to the first question. And if you have the read, a good read, which you probably have had already at this stage, I just want to emphasize again, I think your first answer, your not your, the first part of your solution should be this table. Please repeat this table in the actual in your actual paper. So repeat this table, and where it says A, you would be able to write, let me go in red here, you'll be able to write your answers there. You see, so A, you will be able to write your answers here in this way, but keep the same table, because this is quite important, and it's relatively easy if you understand the theory. And so I'll refer you to Learning Unit 5. Go to Learning Unit 5. In fact, in Learning Unit 5, there is an example that is similar to this one. And at the end of the text of your textbook, there is a section called Solutions. And within the solutions, there is the solution to that particular example that is given in your textbook. So there is no, again, ladies and gentlemen, there is no pretext for failing such a question. And I repeat again, it's very simple. And one thing that I would draw your attention, I would prefer you, when you are tackling this question, to answer first this one in this way, and then the second one, and then the third one. I am cautioning you on the third one. The first and the second one will be relatively easy. You just understand that you have a budgeted overhead for the production and the budgeted service for service department apportionment. So you know that these two will form the total budgeted overhead. So your normal machine hours and your predetermined absorption rates will come from this. So just understand the theory. And if you see here, if you see this line, you can see that everything that is required here to solve anything here is within this place. All right, because you have what is budgeted and you have the actual machine utilization. So this is quite useful, that you solve first A, F, and then you go to G. The only issue that you will have here is that for the packaging, the only issue you will have is that you do not have the normal machine hours capacity given. This is an unknown. And then you do not have the predetermined absorption rate, which is also an unknown. So you have two unknown, con contrary to the rest. The rest here, you have one unknown here. This is B is relatively easy to solve, because you are given here the the apportionment. You are given it here, the apportioning to the department of the services. All right, so this is quite easy, therefore, to find B, C, A, quite easy. But here you have two unknowns, and this will be a little bit tricky, and that's where you need to work again uh, 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 quite hard to find these two. And again, remember, find a formula. Find a formula, because when you look at over and under absorption of overhead. You can understand that what is happening is that they are taking the normal machine hour capacity minus the actual capacity. And that's what gives us this. When we have this, then we know that we are over absorbing the overhead. We are going over, and this is we are going under because it is in parentheses, which means that it is a negative. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that this will be quite an easy question, and again, again, even if you would tell me that this is quite a difficult question and you do not know how to answer it, there is another example in learning unit 5 of an of an example very similar to this one. And if you look at that particular example and the solution, which is at the end of your textbook, you will be able to find your way here. So very easy question. I think that there is no match here. I think that for assembling and finishing, that will be pretty easy. The only thing that I think that you would have a bit of an issue with will be the packaging, because the packaging will be a bit tricky. All right. And again, ladies and gentlemen, when we look at the marks here, you remember that question one is 35 marks, 35 marks, and question 1 is 27 marks. So this particular question here, sub question, I would say, is 27 marks here. If you look, this is 27 marks. But again, very important, I want to see this table. This table, the same table need to be there. But below the table, I want you to write A, and to write the way your calculation, how you manage to find answer A, how you manage to find answer B until H. This is how you get your marks. So you're not going to get the 27 marks by taking the table and by filling A, B, C. You're not going to get the marks like that. Will not be acceptable, because you get less marks because you are not explaining. You could have taken it, as far as I'm concerned, from anywhere. You could have borrowed the answers from anywhere, but there is no calculations showing me that you do really understand what you're doing. So 27 marks, provided that you provide all the calculations. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the calculations are quite important. And some of you have seen that the calculations have saved you, because you might have at the end, you might get the wrong answer, but your calculations will save you, because you will still be able to get some marks, you know, because of the calculations. So I hope that this is quite clear. Okay, so I'm moving on to question number 2. Question number 2 is theory, not the theory question, sorry. Question number 3 is the theory question, but we have again another calculation question, and this one again, I would say very easy. Please keep the same structure. Keep the same structure, just like for question 1. Have the same table, and you will fill this table. You'll be filling this table wherever is needed. You will be filling this table. So wherever needed, meaning that this is quite a good question, because question 1 will just ask you the total production, which is fairly easy to find if you are properly reading. If you are properly reading every single sentence of this paragraph. And for example, I'm giving you a clear example because I know some of you will miss this. This is a sentence within this particular question. This is a sentence. It says each machine requires 5 operator. Thus, if you had read this question and have have not paid attention to this sentence itself, you will lose marks because 5 says a lot. It means whatever calculations you will be doing, you will need to multiply by 5. And I'm already giving you the answer, which I don't want to do, but I'm already giving you the answer. But this, it was just another example of how some of you will be losing marks because you will look at such a question. Either you will not read properly the question, but I see here that, the 4 year was not provided. You see here it says 4 weeks, and it is numerical as well as uh, uh, you know the words for, but they didn't do the same year. So I mean, you might just as you might miss something like this, but remember that you need to pay attention. So one more time, every it is fairly easy. There is clear examples in your textbook. Learning Unit 5, there's clear examples of a similar question to this one. Remember again, here you need also to know what represents the direct material. What is direct material within all uh, these 10 transactions? Which one is direct material? Which one is direct labor? Which one is manufacturing overhead or a period cost, such as admin cost or marketing, distribution, and selling cost? So you need to know when you're reading to know that this that I'm dealing with is either an admin cost or a marketing distribution cost, and to place it at the exact place. So that's quite important, ladies and gentlemen. It's quite important that you may definitely not ignore that. Also, if I can think about anything within this particular question, is that um, once you have, just like we said for question 1, you have the table. Once you fill the table, in fact, you fill the table afterwards. um Normally, yeah, especially for this question, you will be filling out the table first to know which cost falls within which category. All right, and I would like you to write the calculation, how you arrived for up to 10, how you arrived at that particular um, solution. This is quite important, and there is no way of doing away with that, because if I'm not seeing that, like I said again, it's difficult to award you marks or even to help you if you are, let's say, did not get the right answer, if you did not write the steps that you took and the calculation. You're not showing me how you arrived at the that particular solution. So this again, very important, very very important, and I will hope all of you will do well for this question. So this is the format, everyone. This is the format, and hopefully an easy one. I believe it's an easy one. I believe it's an easy one, and I'm pretty much sure that all of you will get it right. So that was question 2. I'm just trying to remember exactly. Let me just see if there is someone in the chat there. David is here. David, it would be impolite of me not to say hi. Uh, so you welcome to unmute yourself and let me know so far if everything is clear. David, are you able to hear me? Oh, perfect, perfect. Let me know if any question just write it down there and take your time, because at the end, once I've covered question 3 and 4, I'll be able maybe to come back to your, but in general, as per the feedback from David, guys, I believe if assignment 1 was at certain point, at certain instances, a bit tricky, I still believe, because some of you did extremely well. A couple of you had 90s in assignment 1, so I can't say that I was wrong to think that it was easy. I repeat again that these are very easy assignment, and these are not really tertiary level worthy assignment. I think that I understand the pedagogy behind this kind of assignment is that you are being asked to, what is being examined or assessed is your level of attention, how much you are paying attention to some of the details. That's what I understand. But to say that it is difficult, I don't believe so, because you do have all the resources, and definitely it's definitely something that you should not uh, by any pretext, you should not get less than a distinction. So if you did not get a distinction for assignment 1, let me ask you really to get a distinction for assignment 2, which will be great, because I believe question 1, question 2, very easy. And if you look at that, question 2, how many marks? Let me see again here, which is 30 marks. Question 1, 35, which is 65 marks. So if you pay proper attention, um, and especially some of the cues that I'm giving you right now, giving you some of the cues, because I believe that some of you might miss and lose some marks here and there. So just please pay attention to some of the cues here. And question number 3. Let's go to question number 3. Easy question, theory-based question. And again, I want to emphasize again 2 things. And I saw that in your previous assignment, where we were talking about the type of operations like merger, acquisitions, and divestment. What shocked me is that you would find an example of a divestment, but some of you did not even take time to define what divestment is. And that was a bit strange, that I couldn't believe that only I think one or two, a couple of you were able to define actually the term itself, merger. For instance, somebody defined merger, but that's what you do if you do any research, is that remember again to reference your work, and I will be able actually to give a mark for referencing. But please, again, you are discussing overtrading. It will be good for you to define overtrading. What is it? Don't just give me the consequences. Give me first a proper definition of what are we talking about here? What is overtrading? And then if you give me three of the consequences plus an explanation. Don't just give me a consequence of a trading, but you're not giving me an explanation. So I just need 3, and you can see that we will get to 8 marks definitely very easily. So there is no way that you could miss something like this. And again, reference. And there is a reason. It is written there on your assignment that remember to reference your answers. It is important. And again, I repeat, not paragraph referencing, not just putting a reference because you don't want to get in trouble. You know that this particular sentence, you read it either in the textbook or you've done a Google search. You have a referencing guide. Why don't you go in the referencing guide and see how they reference a website? Then reference. And I don't see what should be the problem here. And include that same reference at the end of your work in your bibliography. So very easy again. I think I've emphasized enough. But again, remember, there will be deductions of marks if there is no proper referencing. So, and then the second question is about technical insolvency, which needs to be explained, also in with regards to, or with the difference with what is absolute insolvency. So uh, easy question in your textbook, but also it's beautiful to see that maybe you are not only relying on the textbook, that you are reading beyond the textbook, and you are even able as a student to just do to go on Google Scholar and do a search. So I will encourage you to give me something that is neat. It doesn't need to take too long. Remember, this is 15 marks. So look again, especially I've seen for 7 marks, somebody writes more for 7 marks than for 8 marks. So you need to look already also, you need to look at the, the question and how many marks, and see how much you need to write versus, another question, so that you don't end up writing too much, while, the marks repetition is quite straightforward. So again here, yeah, definitely whatever you're going to give me that is clear information that you are giving me, that is answering every sentence that is valuable, will be 1 mark. So yeah, this probably half a page for each one. So on one page you could do question 3. um David, how is it so far? So guys, we're gonna now touch on question 4. Just want to see if it's all good with David. Is it quite clear? Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so um question 4. All right, this is 20 marks. 20 marks. Question 4.1. The first subsection is 15 marks and the second subsection is 5 marks. Again, you are just discussing the agency problem. So remember again to give me clear 5 statements that discusses the agency problem. You are discussing the agency problem. Don't just give me 5 statements. Each statement is I need to go to the second statement or the third statement to find one particular fact that you are giving me. I want each statement to give me an answer to what the agency problem is. So feel free to maximize to get all the 5 marks. These are things that you should not miss. This question one, also very easy, because every time I see a balance sheet, or some element of a financial statement, this is very easy, because remember again here, you're gonna also deal with ratios. We covered it in learning unit 1 and learning unit 2. No, sorry, learning unit 2. Remember the ratios. And we had again the same thing concerning the financing role. uh, we touched on that. So I think this question again is here. Write a report to the honor in which you discuss. The first point is what the financing role entails for you as a financial manager. It's a question we touch on. And again, I believe for 6 marks, you can nail this one. Make sure you reference each sentence, not the paragraph. Make sure you reference each sentence that you have read somewhere else. Remember, whatever you're borrowing, you just need to acknowledge that you are borrowing that. Paraphrase it. Paraphrase. If you are taking a sentence verbatim, then you need to put it into quotation marks. You are quoting a book, and there is a way of referencing a quote, and there is a way of referencing a, 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 something that you are paraphrasing. All right, an idea, or anything that you are paraphrasing. There is a way of doing that. Okay, so 6 marks maximum here. Let me see again if my pencil is working. 6 marks here. But here you need to calculate the ratio. And again, many people are ignoring this. They gave you the industry average, which is 50%. So it is for a purpose that that is given, is so that whatever you're going to find in your calculation should be compared with the 15%. Is it higher than 15%? Is it lower than 15%? They're asking you gearing. I suppose you know what gearing is. All of you know what gearing is. So you know it's that. It has to do with that. Okay, I'm saying it already. All right, it has to do with that. But there is two particular ratio that you can use within gearing. There is debt to equity ratio, and there is also the total gearing ratio. Check them up, understand what needs to be in the numerator and what needs to be in the denominator. So what's what divided by debt to ratio, debt to ratio. You can see debt numerator, equity, debt to equity ratio, debt to equity ratio, debt numerator, equity denominator. So look at the formula and use this, use this. And your formula must be very clear. What is non-current? What is non-current liability? What is current liability? At this stage of your studies, you should know this one very well. So the reason why I'm saying this is that I see someone writing a formula, but they're not getting, it is written there, but they're not getting, they're getting confused when it's time to actually solve or do the calculation. So non-current liability, total equity, what is it exactly? What do I need to add? What do I need to subtract? Okay, you have the profit for the year. You can't ignore this. This profit goes somewhere. It's part of the equity. So think about that. It's part of your equity. The drawing. Are they just giving you a drawing to confuse you? No, it's for a reason. Because if we draw from that profit, it's a minus, right? So it's pretty clear. So I'm already giving too many answers. So feel free to do both, all the two ratios, gearing ratios. You can use the debt to equity and you can use the total gearing ratio. It doesn't matter. Whatever you're going to find there, you need to compare it to the industry average. So that was it. That was it. David, what's your impressions on this assignment? Straightforward, easy. All right. So the rest seems okay. And I did say that exactly. I would assume definitely David doing his job as it should be. But yeah, you are totally right, because that's exactly what I said in the very beginning. Again, I say question one for assembling and finishing, very easy again. David, that will be quite easy. But I did say packaging here, be careful because there's two unknown here, and it will require you to just use you know, basic calculation that we've used, you know, in high school. But yeah, you have two unknowns. Remember again the formulas, especially if you do assembling and finishing, you'll be able to see how you get into and into normal machine hour capacity and predetermined absorption rate, because you need the budgeted overhead, production and services, uh, you know, which gives you the total budgeted. So you're using the total budgeted, you're using the normal machine hours to find what the predetermined absorption rate is. And it's all in your textbook. These formulas are there on in Learning Unit 5. So once that is, you've done assembling and finishing, then I'm sure that you will figure out packaging, because that's the tricky part there, because they have given you two unknowns. But again, if I say, if you just take a bit of time to look at, what feeds what. But okay, let me say it. You will need to use the actual machine utilization. There's 25,000 hours. You will need to use it in order for you to find E and D. So again, guys, if you're listening again, remember I did say, instead of you going this way, A, B, and solving it this way, I would say if you solve it this way, you're going down like this. So you solve for assembling, for finishing, and for packaging. It will be much easier. That already will make it easier when you are looking at packaging. So do it at, in at the end, and just work with your, with the formulas. So know what divided by what gives me what, so it will be easy for you to find what the unknown there is. But yes, I agree, it is tricky. That's one. Packaging is tricky area. Every one of you, really, if you think packaging is tricky, I agree with you, packaging is tricky. It is, but I would say it is easy if you work at it with a method. You're coming at it with a particular method. So guys, again, it seems like, 30 minutes. I was planning on 30 minutes, which is already there. So that will be it. It's fairly simple. I will really I'm looking forward and expecting that all of you will smash this one, and we will get great distinctions here. Let me see again. All right, so I only, yeah, David is here. All right, so David, that will be it for me here. Thank you so much for, do you have any questions before we go? All right, perfect, perfect. And again, guys, if you are listening to this, remember again, you have, I will give you tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, to contact me concerning the assignment. If there is a particular thing in the assignment where you are struggling with, seriously, not don't reach back to me so that I can give you the answer. But if there is a particular principle that is really confusing to you and you would need a bit of explanation, I'll be happy to do that, but only for these 2 days, tomorrow and Friday. um Friday before 4 o'clock, before 4 o'clock. So then I will see if I can assist. And but for the rest, like I said, it's pretty straightforward. For the rest, remember again, read each sentence, make sure you reference your work properly. Don't forget to put your bibliography at the end, and show your calculations. Keep the tables for the two questions with the calculations. Keep the table as it is. Use the table. Keep the table. Write the answers in the table, but also show me the workings. Show me the steps for A, B, C, D, E, F, G until H for question one, and for question two, from 1 to 10, show me the steps. It will save you quite a lot. In case that you're not getting the correct answer, I will still give you some marks because of the steps that you are showing. So, and that's it, ladies and gentlemen. So I will stop the recording, and I will wish you all the best.